Quinn Hughes and the Hart. Hughes for Hart, we saw it trending. We saw it all over Twitter. Hughes for Hart after that game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. PJ, we were talking about this and made the point that Hughes has been doing this all season, but it was nice for him to do it on that stage with the context of what the Canucks were facing heading into that game. Hughes for Hart. I was really curious about this, so I just wrote about this at Canucks Army. It actually went live at 2 o'clock today on Monday. I wrote about this. Hughes for the Hart. Is it going to be something that actually happens? Is it just some fun hashtag that we all get to tweet out and say about 6 times, as I already have in this segment? I tried to size up the competition. So I looked around the league and just, looked at who are some of the names that are out there. I sent out a mass email that you were actually a part of, but you're not part of the final 11 tally, to try to figure out how people are going to vote. So I asked about 20, but I went with 11 because I only had 11 at the time of publishing. I went with 11 responses from people, and I used the proper voting format of first place gets 5 points, second place gets 4 points, third gets 3, and so on and so on and so on, to kind of put together the Hart Trophy race and see how it looks right now. So I have 11 voters, okay? I have 11 voters that I pulled. I want to go over this data with you and get your take, and then I also want us to give our Hart ballots as 2 guys who voted on the Hart Trophy in the past and probably will this year as well. I want to get to these. This was the results, basically. So the big 4, as I like to call them, you've got Leon Draisaitl, you've got Quinn Hughes, you've got Nathan MacKinnon, and Connor Hellebuyck. Those are kind of the big 4 that we're going to see. And shocker, in this order, this is who my anonymous poll that I did with 20 people, but these are the 11 results that I actually put together. It was Leon Draisaitl with 55 points, which, by the way, means that every one of those 11 voters had Leon Draisaitl at number 1 on their ballot. It was Nathan MacKinnon at number 2. It was Quinn Hughes at number 3. It was Connor Hellebuyck at number 4. And it was Kirill Kaprizov at number 5. MacKinnon picking up 37 points. Hughes gets 28. Hellebuyck, 25. Kaprizov, 9. Hughes, and I know Canucks fans want to hear this, Hughes got 0 first place votes, obviously because everybody voted for Draisaitl, 2 second place votes, 5 third place votes, 2 fourth place votes, and 1 fifth place vote. So one person didn't have him on their ballot at all, but he is getting some love for the Hart. But right now, what this exercise kind of told me was that he's going to have to do a little bit more. He's going to have to, and again, it's not even, Hughes needs to be better or anything like that. It's just the season Draisaitl's putting together right now. We were talking about it before the show started. Playing with Vasily Podkolzin as his most common winger at 5-on-5. Really, the big story, Patrick, is that he woke up and actually decided to play defense this year, which ultimately is why I think the Oilers might win the Cup, is that he is playing defense this year and he's doing it at a really high level. The defensive involvement was never there in past years for Draisaitl. It's there this year. He's putting up the points. He's already got 31 goals. He leads the league in even strength goals by a wide margin. And again, he's playing with Vasily Podkolzin as his main line mate. Draisaitl is on another level this year, and this poll suggests that it is Draisaitl's award to lose at this juncture at the halfway point in the NHL season. So again, this might not be Hughes just needs to play better as much as it is it's going to be hard to take down Draisaitl with the season that he's having.
Well, I'm going to go to bat here a little bit for Vasily Podkolzin, for one. Do you know who is fourth in points per 60 on the Edmonton Oilers?
Would it be Vasily Podkolzin?
It's shocking, I know, but it's Vasily Podkolzin. He's not playing a ton. Listen, let's be clear. He's not every shift with Draisaitl, but when he's on the ice, he's doing well. Like, he's played well. He's been a useful contributor. He's been you want him to be a star. He was drafted to be a star, but he's being a quality, competent NHL forward. He's being the guy that Canucks was hoping he would be. It just wasn't going to work out here. Anyway, the thing about Draisaitl, and I find this fascinating because I've thought about giving him a Selke vote in the past. The idea that he did not play defense before the season, I think it's more that he's kicked it up a notch. and is the story of why he's been this horse. I mean, the Oilers are such an incredible team, obviously, because they have these two superstars. And it's a bit of a, people are, well, they only win because they're, when they're on the ice. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the point. Like, I get that the depth is not always necessarily amazing, but they're a team that go where their horses take them. And Leon Draisaitl, the way they're playing, that is a team that is clearly in the Stanley Cup discussion. And it's because of him. And it's because, I'm still blown away that Connor McDavid got no votes at all top 5. Like, I get it's challenging. You list off the names. It's ludicrous to me to not have him in the conversation. It is a statement about how strong the sort of contenders are, and partly because Hughes has raised his game so much, right? Like Cale Makar has a case to be in the mix too. I don't think he's not a winning case, but he's a case to be in the top 5 vote. And Connor Hellebuck deserves to be there, and then there's Kirill Kaprizov, and then there's Kucherov, and there's all these guys that are playing outstanding, and it is an incredible time to be a hockey fan. I really think that. I know people kind of get on whatever things about the game here and there, but it's an incredible time, and a lot of it's because offensively things are as good as they've ever been, unless you're watching the Vancouver Canucks, but in general across the league, this is an incredible time to watch top end talent, and there's a lot of it, and this vote speaks to that.
Now, I don't know how you go about your ballot, but with the definition, the player deemed most valuable to his team, my rule, I will never have teammates on my ballot. I will never put McDavid and Draisaitl on a ballot. I will never put Makar and McKinnon on a ballot. I just think it goes against the spirit of the award. The player most valuable to his team. There can't be two most valuable to their team. The player deemed. Listen to the definition. The player deemed most valuable to his team. To me, that is one player. You can't have Elias Pettersson. You can't have Quinn Hughes. Not that Elias Pettersson's playing at a Hart level or anything like that, but no matter who the teams are, and I know Oilers fans hate me for that because I brought it up in the past, and I'll defend it to the death. I won't vote for teammates for the Hart. You won't see two of the same teammates on my Hart ballot. I don't think that's how the award should be voted on. Not that I think people are doing it incorrectly if they go about it another way, but that's how I interpret voting on the award, and that's how I take it. I take it very seriously, obviously. I had Leon Draisaitl number 1 on my ballot, and it's for the reasons that I've already said. He's really kicked up his defensive game a notch. I personally, my personal opinion, watching him in past years, looking at his underlying numbers, he wasn't good defensively in past years, and I think it's held the Oilers back. Quite frankly, it has. And he stepped it up in such a big way this year that he might end up finding himself on my Selke ballot as well this year. Not that we're transitioning to a Selke conversation, but the fact that you're playing defense at a level that makes me at least consider you for the Selke. You are leading the league in goals. You are doing all of these miraculous things, and you're doing it with Vasily Podkolzin as your number 1 line mate. Some other guys, Kasperi Kapanen is his other line mate. He's doing it with guys that if they were playing in Vancouver, we would be saying, well, you need to get better wingers for Elias Pettersson than Podkolzin and Kapanen or whatever, right? The fact that Draisaitl is getting the results he is, that is the most valuable player on the Oilers this season. I think he's the most valuable player in the entire league this year. I am going with Draisaitl, number 1 on my half-season ranking. And I'll go through the rest of my ballot really quick. I actually wrote it down. The rest of my ballot...
I'm glad you wrote it down, Dave, and you're not just winging it off the top of your head.
I had Draisaitl. I have Quinn Hughes, number 2. I have Nate McKinnon, number 3. Connor Hellebuck, number 4. Kirill Kaprizov, number 5. Draisaitl, Hughes is the top 2 in my mind, and I would be willing to listen to McKinnon should be number 2, as most people in this anonymous survey that I did. Most people had McKinnon at number 2. I had Hughes at number 2.
I had meant to vote, but as I think I told you, I had a few things going on and didn't get back to you in time. But here's how I was going to vote, which would be Hellebuck, McDavid, Hughes, Draisaitl, McKinnon, which of course apologies to Kaprizov and like I said, Kucherov and
Hellebuck number 1. Hey, Hellebuck number 1.
I have where are the Jets without him?
That's great. That's a great take.
Right.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because in the article, go read it over at CanucksArmy.com. I went over Hellebuck's game when I was doing the competition. Hellebuck's having a better year save percentage-wise. Did you realize Hellebuck's at a .928 save percentage?
It's nuts.
He won the Vezina last year. He's winning the Vezina this year. I think he's on his way. He can almost coast to another back-to-back Vezina Trophy wins. He deserves it, absolutely, I think. I have no problem with you putting Hellebuck number one. I think that's a great take. Again, I think Draisaitl's on another level. He deserves to win the award. I think he ultimately will win the award, but Hellebuck at number one is absolutely defensible. I think that's when you talk about the spirit of the award of most valuable to his team, the Jets are nothing without Connor Hellebuck, honestly. 928 save percentage. It's just unbelievable.
No Ovi. Give me a break. The guy can't move. He's just he's an exciting goal scoring story. I get it, but like his overall game's junk. Yeah. And in many ways, the Capitals are going to make the playoffs in spite. I know it sounds crazy, but the Capitals may make the playoffs in spite of him. As crazy as that sounds.
I love me some Ovi. He's like the sixth best forward on the Capitals this year. Yeah. And we saw it in the game against the Canucks. Like Ovechkin, those were the minutes that the Canucks started to create stuff. Was when Ovechkin was on the ice.
And the Capitals had a great power play 15 years ago. And they had him shooting from that same spot. Like the number of shots that don't go in is astounding. Go look at his numbers. The guy fires and fires and fires and fires. But like that power play has not been. I mean, they won this 6 years ago. I don't even know. 7 years ago. When did they win the Stanley Cup? Was that 2018?
2018. Yep.
7 years ago now. Like he was a fantastic league leading player. And he's in terms of goal scoring, a great story. In terms of off ice, he's a horrendous story. But here he is. But he's not an MVP player. I get why there's buzz because of course he's chasing the great one. But an MVP season, this is not.
Okay, one thing. The chat's mad at you, Patrick. McDavid over Hughes. McDavid over Draisaitl. Walk me through this Connor McDavid love.
I'm sorry. Connor McDavid's the best player in hockey. Like, what do you?
He's not even the best player on his team right now.
Who draws the big assignments, Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid?
Connor McDavid, serious. Because he's playing with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and not Vasily Podkolzin and Kasperi Kapanen.
You guys are crazy.
No, I think it's a
Connor
fine
McDavid
take.
Shut up.
It is
stop,
a fine
Stop. Connor McDavid is the best hockey player any of you will ever see in your life. You're never going to see anyone better. Full stop. Done. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Okay, grow up, all of you.
We'll leave it at that. Okay. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, folks. We will leave it right there on the Hart Trophy conversation.